Mwah. Thanks for watching.
Hello, my beautiful peaches. Today we're going to be doing another cooking with Saphira. And as you can see, I'm dressed up a little bit. I thought it'd be fun to, put some heels on, some dress and makeup and cook us a dinner. I don't know. I decided to be fun and share it with y'all. But today we'll be making meatloaf my way. It is a pretty easy way. So just sit back, relax, and let's get started on this easy meatloaf. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to prepare your meat at least 2 hours to an hour before you cook, so that way it sits in everything that we're going to put together, and that way it could come out pretty tasty. So let me go ahead and get our meat. So the first thing we're going to use is 1 pound of ground beef. It's about 1 pound 19.93.7. I'm going to chunk that in a bowl. Okay, now you'll need a pound of ground pork. Right? Yeah, 1 pound of ground pork. Okay. Alright, after you get your ground beef and your ground pork into the bowl together, just kind of mush it together with a fork, kind of combined it together, so that way when we put the ingredients that we're needing, they'll be able to mix properly. I'm using a fork because I don't want to get dirty. And so I'm not having to constantly sanitize my hands when I have to go and reach for some ingredients or anything like that. My eyes are watering because of these onions. Okay, so once we get all that together, you're going to want to grab your other ingredients. So it looks like we're going to need some breadcrumbs. Even with heels on, I still can't reach everything. This is my shortcut of things that I can't reach and I can't get somebody to help me. That's what I use. Tongs. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so you will need 3/4 cups of breadcrumbs. Panko breadcrumbs, I should say. Right, 3/4 cups. Alrighty. Alright, and next we will need our ketchup. Any ketchup will do. Any ketchup will do. So you will need 3/4 cups divided. I kind of just eyeball it. I would say about that much. Okay, and next you will need your egg, which we already cut up and cried about it. I was like, please don't make my eyes water. I'm gonna mess up everything that I just did, and thankfully it wasn't super bad, but my eyes still watered. Okay. You'll need 1 egg. Okay, and it says 1 egg, and what I recommend is beating it before you put it in there. Alright. Rinse that off. Okay, and then next you will need your Worcestershire sauce. Wash your ass in the shower, whatever you call it, you're gonna need this good stuff. And you will need 1 tablespoon. I like to put a little bit because I really like this stuff. Or we really like this stuff. Okay, that is good. Alright, and next thing we will need is a garlic. Okay. Try to mince up some garlic as best I could. And with the garlic, you'll need 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, but I had to go ahead and mince it myself. And I did about 3-4 garlic cloves, medium size. Okay. Next, we will need thyme, some thyme, and it says you'll need 1 tablespoon, but I put a little bit more than that. Pepper and salt. There's our pepper. There's our salt, now our pepper. Keep going until your hand gets tired, and then go a little bit more. We like a lot of pepper around here. Okay, and then just to be sure there's enough garlic taste in there, I'm gonna add a little bit of more garlic powder in there, and then that is all that we need. So you'll just mix it around with your fork. Just try to get everything coated. You don't really have to worry about over mixing it. It's okay, because honestly it's just gonna go in a little oven pan and it's gonna cook in a loaf, so it's okay to mix this. But that's why I suggest using a fork, because this kind of helps you incorporate everything together in the bowl. And you just got to make sure everything's coated with breadcrumbs, everything has onions, everything has something coated on it. And just for a little heat, I'm going to put some red pepper flakes inside of here and let it sit. Okay. Give it one final stir around, make sure everything looks okay. Alright, once that is done, go ahead and get something to cover it, whether it be plastic wrap, saran wrap, foil. You just want to cover it. I'm gonna use cling seal because that's what I have. Alright, and it is 2:38 now. I'm gonna let it sit for about an hour and 20 minutes. So like I recommended, to let it sit like this for about 2 hours to an hour before you want to cook it, so it can sit there in all this tastiness and make sure it grabs all the flavors that we want. You stick it in the fridge until it's time. Okay, so we'll let that sit and then we'll come back once it's time to put it in the oven. We'll also be making some mashed potatoes with this, and that's about it. Usually when I make this, it tends to be a lot of food for just the two of us. So we'll just do meatloaf and mashed potatoes. And it's an easy dinner and it's pretty cheap too. So I'll see y'all once it's time to put it in the oven. Mwah. Okay, my peaches, we are back. I have preheated my oven to 350. That's all set to go. So let's go ahead and get our pan. And I do recommend lining your pan with like parchment paper. It's easy to clean up, and plus it's easier to get out to cut and serve. So let's get that pan. Okay, it says this pan is a 9.25 by 5.25 by 2.75 inches, and that will fit all of that in there. So there's that. Let me go ahead and find my parchment paper. Here it is. Okay, so you won't need much. There we go. And it'll have some trouble sticking at first. You can stick some oil at the bottom of the pan to make it stick, or once you start putting the meat in there, it'll help to hold it. So let's get our meat out. Okay, so it's been in the refrigerator for about, what time is it? 4:20. Yeah, it's been in there for almost 2 hours because we put it in the fridge around 2:38, and it's about 4:20, 4:22 around there. And if you don't want to get your hands dirty, I recommend using a fork to put the meat into the pan. And I would just put as much in there, like the first layer in there, just put as much as you can, and then go back and just pat it down to kind of look like form it into the meatloaf that you're wanting. And like I said, once you have that first layer there, go ahead and start to push it down so that way you can get that loaf look. And with using a fork, it helps to push it down nicely. And plus it keeps your hands clean, so. That's how the bottom looks so far. Looks pretty nice. So we'll keep going until we get it all in there. And with adding ground beef and pork, it gives it a really nice taste, and it also keeps it really moist too. When I was younger, I didn't like meatloaf just because the way it was cooked, it came out pretty dry. My grandma was the one that made it, and she wasn't much of a cook, but she definitely did try, and it came out dry every single time, but I still ate it because I loved my grandma and I always wanted to make her happy. But when I finally got the chance to make it, I was so afraid that it was going to come out dry, and I hadn't tried it with the ground pork yet. I had only been using the ground beef. Thankfully, it wasn't coming out super dry, but it just felt like it was missing something. And then we saw that Walmart had a combination pack that had the ground beef and pork, but they didn't sell it at the store that we usually go to. So I just bought the individual itself and then mixed it together myself. Thankfully we saw that, because yeah, ever since we've been doing it this way, and we've never wanted to stop. And this is for 2 people. And we're going to have mashed potatoes with this. You can have more sides, and this can definitely feed more people if you have more side options. I did have broccoli, but this is a lot of food for us already, and we don't want to be wasteful, so we will just have this and that'll be enough for both of us. Okay, here is our finished meatloaf. So I'm going to put it in the oven for about 40 to 50 minutes. But in the last 15 minutes, you can go more, you can go less, but I usually try to go in the last 15 minutes. I'm going to put the ketchup on top of here and let it bake for the remainder time. And that way that should crisp up the ketchup really nicely. But when we add the ketchup, I'll bring us back so I can show you the easy mashed potatoes we have. And after that, we'll be done. But I will see y'all then. Okay, Google, set a timer for 35 minutes.
All right, 35 minutes. Starting now.
Okay, my peaches, our timer has gone off at 35 minutes, so let's go ahead and take this out and put some ketchup on top. It's looking pretty juicy already, but not fully cooked yet. So let's get our ketchup. And you're going to put your ketchup all on top. It's up to you how much of a thick layer of ketchup you want. That's totally up to you. We like a pretty good layer. Get one of these if you have it to help you spread the ketchup on top. I put a little bit at first so that way I can make sure I coat the whole top of it. So that way I know it's even everywhere before I start putting more. I keep wanting to grab it without the glove, but it's like if I do that, I'm going to burn myself. And I don't want to do that. Okay, let's put some more. See, I almost touched it right there. Thankfully, I didn't burn myself. Okay, I say a little bit more. Okay, we got our layer of ketchup on top, and I'm going to set it in for another 15 minutes. Okay, Google, set a timer for 15 minutes.
Okay, 15 minutes. Starting now.
While we wait for those 15 minutes to go up, I'm going to be making some mashed potatoes. And let me show you how I do those. So we are reusing the same bowl. Don't worry, I washed it. Okay, so we're going to be using the roasted garlic Idahoan. I'm sure I'm not saying that right, but it's okay. So with the family size, you're going to need 4 cups of water. So we're going to get 4 hot cups of water, and we're going to put it in a little kettle that we have. Two. You can use really hot water to make these, but it's boiled water's preferred. So if you have a little water kettle, I would suggest using that, or just boiling some water on the stove. Either way will work. While we wait for that, let's get some butter. I like to put some butter inside of our mashed potatoes. Okay, I'll put about 1 tablespoon in there. You could put more, you could put less, or if you don't want to put any at all, that is your choice. Okay, so I'm going to put the boiling water in here. I know this may seem weird, but in the water, I'm going to throw my butter. I'm also going to do pepper. And salt. Not too much. Right now, get your bag of mashed potatoes. Make sure you get all of the powder out of the bag. And then now mix it up, and it will start to thicken up. See how it's starting to thicken up there? So the 4 cups for the family size is a good amount. If you get the smaller packs, I believe it's 2 cups. And you can add more or less pepper. I like to add more since we do like a lot of pepper here. All right, and there's our mashed potatoes. So now we're just gonna wait for the meatloaf to finish cooking. Let's see how much longer we have. Okay, Google, how is the timer?
9 minutes and 1 second remaining.
All right, we have 9 minutes. So while we wait for that, I'm just gonna put that in the microwave so it could stay warm. And then once we are all plated up, I'll show you what it looks like and I'll tell you what it tastes like. But I will see y'all then. We're almost to the finish line, y'all. All right, bye. Okay, my peaches, we are back and we are finally at the end. Here is our meatloaf and mashed potatoes. My meatloaf kind of just fell apart, but you know what? That's okay. It's going to be eaten. It doesn't need to be perfect. So let's go ahead and give it a try. That's some good meatloaf right there. If y'all give it a try, please let me know and tell me how it comes out. But thank y'all so much for hanging out with me. I hope y'all have a fantastic day. Bye.